Okay. I think we all need to be paying attention because we've probably forgotten everything.
I actually studied every day, so I brought my Precal book.
Okay.
That was a lot.
So now we are ready to get back into the groove.
Guys, be quiet. Spring break's over.
That's right. Spring break is over. We are ready to rumble. That's right. Number one. Everybody's paying attention because we still need this class to graduate. So let's focus and pay attention.
You still need me.
All right. Number one. Convert to rectangular coordinates. Rectangular means what letters? X and Y. How do we find X? What do we know X equals? R cosine theta. X equals R cosine theta. Y equals R sine theta. Right? So, for this problem, what is my R? 3. What is my theta? So X equals 3 cosine 162, Y equals 3 sine 162. I simply take out my trusty calculator, make sure it's set in degrees, and type 3 cosine 162.
Excuse an interruption. Can I please have Madison Jones work in the office?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. That was a bullet dodge.
Alright, so rounding to the nearest hundred. It didn't tell me how to round, so I just picked the 100. This would be the answer. Jabron, shut up. Does this ring any bells with anybody? Yeah, it does. Number 2. Convert to polar. Now, what does that mean I'm looking for? Polar. I'm looking for R and theta. So what we do when we're looking for R and theta is we draw ourselves a picture. So we go right 3 and down 4. That's what the point is. The point is 3 comma negative 4. This is R. What's R? 5. And we get that doing the Pythagorean Theorem. This is theta. Now that's where we get into trouble sometimes. We forget that we have to start here and go all the way around. So we're going to find this angle first, and then we'll subtract it from 360. And how will we find this angle? We'll second tangent 4/3. And why am I second tangenting? That's what I do when I need an angle, right? So turn it on, second tangent 4/3. This angle is 53.13. Katie. I never put the negative in myself. I never do it. It doesn't matter. That'll just come out to be a negative number when you do that. Now, second tangent 4/3 gave me 53.13. So what's the actual angle that I put in my ordered pair? 360 minus that, which will be 30687. Oh, double check my arithmetic.
8305.
What is it?
87.
Number 3, convert to polar form. Okay, now stop. anytime they say polar, you know you're looking for, no, r and theta. We just did that, didn't we? Now we're going to do it again. Problem 3 is the same thing, only it's written like this, which means we're looking for our CIS notation. That's what polar or trigonometric form is, CIS. So we'll draw a picture over to up 3. What's my R? No, it's not 2. R isn't 2. R is the square root of 13. How do we do that again? Pythagorean Theorem. And here's theta. This is an easy one. It's right there in quadrant 1, so I don't need to add or subtract or do anything. I just need to find it. And how am I going to find that? On my calculator, second tangent 3/2. And second tangent 3/2 is 56.31. And again, because that's in quadrant 1, we don't need to make any adjustments to it. Got it? That's the answer. So this is the answer right here. When it says polar form or trigonometric form, you want CIS. Number 4, convert to rectangular. Okay, now stop. When it says convert to rectangular, what does that mean you're looking for? X and Y. And how do we find X and Y? That's right, it's still right here. It's exactly the same thing, kids. So what's X going to equal?
5. X will equal 5.
5 cosine 100. And Y will equal 5 sine 100.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Now, when you write your answer, though, let's see, it's negative 0.87 plus 4.92i. When we write a number in rectangular or complex form, it's x plus yi. I want you to look at problem 1 and problem 4. Did I do basically the same thing in both problems?
Yeah.
The difference is problem 1 was coordinates. That's an ordered pair. Problem 4 was rectangular form. That's x plus yi. See the difference? Number 5. Convert to a polar equation. Jack. What? Oh yeah, okay, go ahead.
Is it 2, like, parentheses cosine theta plus 3 parentheses sine theta?
Close. It's r cosine theta.
Okay.
X equals r cosine theta, so you're going to take out the x and put in r cosine, and take out the y and put in r sine theta. Yes, Jack. Otherwise, you're exactly right. Okay. How hard is that problem? If you miss that, it's because you're just not paying attention. You're not studying. You didn't memorize that x equals r cosine theta. Because all you have to do in problem 5 is take, hey, Baumgartner, all you have to do in problem 5 is take out the x and put in r cosine theta. Take out the y, put in r sine theta, and you are done. Everybody gets that one right. Right? Number 6 is harder. We've practiced them, Does anybody remember how we start? We deal with this. What does sine theta equal? Do you remember your definitions? Somebody said y over r. So we take out the sine and we replace it with y over r. What if that had been a cosine?
Then it's x over r.
Then it's x over r. What if it had been a tangent?
Then it's
Y over x. You got it. So whatever function is there, you're going to replace it. Now, when you replace it, you're always going to have a fraction. Y over x, y over r, x over r. It's always going to be a fraction. Get rid of the fraction. So how will we get rid of the fraction? What will we multiply by? R. So that's going to give me an r squared over here and a 4y over here. Now, what do you know about r squared, you guys? You memorized it.
Oh wait, it's r squared, took a while, but it's an equation, I forget it. R squared equals like x squared over y squared.
X squared plus y squared, yep. Remember, the first thing you had to do in this chapter was memorize some conversion equations. These were a couple of them. Another one was x squared plus y squared equals r squared. If you have forgotten those, you might want to go back.
If you never knew those.
You might want to go back, yep.
So is that the answer?
That's the answer.
Wait, and
The
the
bottom
answer to
one.
number 5, is it just 1?
This is the answer to number 5.
Oh,
Okay, number 7. Given these two numbers,
Oh, I think I know how to do this.
we're going to multiply them and we're going to divide them. So who remembers the rule here?
You multiply the first two, then you add the second.
Multiply these two, add these two. So the multiply answer would be 48. CIS 250?
Yes, ma'am.
How about the divide answer?
You would divide 6 by 8 and
So
then
3/4.
yeah, then subtract. Yeah.
So we divide the R values and subtract the angles. How about that answer though? Does that bother anybody? It should, because we have a rule that says that can't be a negative. So how do we make it positive?
It's
It's 310. How did you do that?
because it's 50 less than 360.
You add 360. Yep. Yep.
Wait, how did you do that?
Add 360. To find a positive coterminal angle, you add 360. Okay? Now number 8. This is the longest problem on the quest. Does anybody remember how to start? Oh, nobody remembers how to start? What?
That little yawn.
We're going to deal with the 5, but not yet. First, we're going to change our number into polar form. So we need to change this number into RCIS theta. So how do we find R and theta? Do you remember? Draw a picture. So over root 3 up 1. find the R.
That would be 10, root 10.
Be careful, that's a root 3, not a 3. That's a radical 3.
But if you
If you square radical 3, you just get 3,
3, so 4.
which is 2. So your radius is 2. Now, chances are, well, I hope anyway, you recognize that triangle, Jack. How big is this angle? 30. Jack knows it's 30 because he sees that root 3 and that's the 60, so there's the 30 right there. Good job. So what's my R? 2. What's my theta? Be careful. It's not 30. It's 150. How's come it's 150? 180 minus 30. Look.
Sorry. Sarcastic.
Step 1 in problem number 8. Change your number into CIS form. Find your R, find your theta. Now we're going to take it to the 5th power. Who remembers how to do this?
Take it to the 5th power.
Hi, Ramo, you were eating this up on Friday. How do we do this? Do you remember?
Anytime, y'all friends.
No one remembers?
What am I just saying?
2 to the 5th.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
2 to the 5th is 32. And then 150 times 5, which is 750. Now, how about that answer? By the way, we got it 2 to the 5th. This angle's too big, right? Before we had a negative, and we didn't want a negative. We also don't want one this big. So how do we shrink it down?
Subtract 360.
Subtract 360, maybe twice. So that comes down to 30. Note the directions. Answer in polar form. Is this polar form?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, how did
Yeah.
you get to 30?
Subtract 360, subtract 360.
Wait, what was this question?
How did we go from 750 to 30? We subtracted 360. That's how you break it. Shrink an angle down, take out its revolutions.
Oh, yeah.
Break it down.
All right, now we're going to plot. Okay, so here we go.
We're going through these pretty quickly.
Okay, you need to take this function. That's your pass in the class, you're also supposed to take it home. Okay. Jabron, if you don't be quiet, I'm going to put you out in the hallway. We have a test, and there are people in here who don't want to learn. A, point A, 3 comma 2 pi over 3. Your job is to do nothing but plot it. Put a point on there somewhere. Now, first thing you might want to do is change this into a degree measure. You know how to do that. Pi is 180, divided by 3 is 60, times 2 is 120. So we're going to the 120 line, which is labeled for you. And what does the 3 tell you?
3 levels out.
3 levels out. So 1, 2, 3 levels out. Oh, I know. I'm a little out of practice. Haven't had a marker in my hand for 2 days. There's point A.
A little rusty.
B, little bit on the tricky side, peeps. Negative R value. Who remembers what a negative R value does?
Go
Olivia
to the
Willis.
opposite angle, so you go to 240.
So you go to 240. Opposite angle, boys and girls. If this is 60, the opposite angle would be 180 degrees different. So that would be 240. So we're going to plot 4, 240. So here's the 240. There it is right there. There's point B. It's 180 degrees different. The opposite angle. Okay? Everybody good? Now we're going to sketch, be as accurate as possible. So get your calculators out. And I don't know if you change anything, but you want to go to polar mode. You want to be in polar mode because we're doing a polar graph. Right? And we're going to set up our window. Now, what do you think?
Data minimum 0.
0.
Data maximum 360.
360. Perfect.
Steps, we go ahead and put 5, right?
I think 5 would be a good step.
The X minimum was 5.
For this problem, I want you to think about some of the stuff we talked about. This is going to be a rose, you guys. This is going to be a rose.
How did you know that?
Because I recognize the equation. We went through all those. If you look at your notes. This is going to be a rose. Do you remember what this number tells me? How long the leaves are. So if you set your window at 5, it's going to go right to the very edge. So I think I'll use -6 and 6. You can use 5 if you want. I just always like to have a little bit of extra space. Now I'm going to put in my equation. 5 sine 2 theta. That's the equation we're graphing.
Got you. Okay, still the last one.
How was that?
I'm going ahead and sketching it on the same grid because I don't want to make another one. But you should have gotten a 4-leaved rose that goes out 5. So you need this, oh, you shouldn't have gotten a circle. You should have gotten a 4-leaved rose. It looks like this. And you want to translate that onto your picture. Make sure that when you translate it onto your graph, on your paper, that you make the leaves 5 long. They got to go clear out to the end of the picture because they're 5 long.
Like this?
That's fine. Just hit graph.
No, it's did you put the equation in? Exactly what I got.
You have to put in this equation.
Isn't it polar and everything?
Now, what I want to do at this point is I found an old couple of quizzes, and I'd like to do these for practice. But as always, gang, the quest that we take on Wednesday will look like the pre-quiz. Yeah. This is just some extra practice.
I have Wednesdays.
Papers due on Wednesday, yes. Don't forget your Latin literacy papers due Wednesday.
Is this worksheet homework or is this?
No, we're gonna do this right now together.
All right, cool.
If we don't get it done, it will be homework, but we should get it done.
That paper, dude, that's worth 20 points.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Get daddy hot.
Okay, Julia Henry is already started because she is paying attention and doing the right thing. Why don't you see if you can do, Ron? You are making me a little bit ticked. Uh-oh, I heard somebody say I had no idea how to do this. So I think you do, because we just practiced it. Now let's refresh our memories here. What does it mean when we say polar coordinates? What are we looking for? We're looking for R and theta. Polar means R and theta. So, how do we find R and theta? We draw a picture. Over 3, up 5. Kids, isn't this R? What will R be? Root 34. And how do we get R? One more time. Pythagorean Theorem. Now we need theta. We're looking for R and theta. This is a quest question. This was on your review sheet. How do we find theta? We use our trusty calculator, and I'm going to second tangent 5/3. I don't do the negative. So second tangent 5/3 gives me an angle of 59.04.
Okay, I got 03.
You didn't round right.
So the negative doesn't matter.
No. The negative is, I've drawn it in quadrant 2. Now, if you put 5904 in your answer, you're wrong. This is theta. So how will I get the right angle? Subtract it from what? 180. So you should get 120.96.
Okay, never mind.
Convert to rectangular coordinates. What does that mean? What'd you say?
Those are cosine.
Exactly. I need X and I need Y. And gang, when you need X and Y, it's R cosine theta, R sine theta. So what will I type into my calculator in problem number 2? 7 cosine 135, 7 sine 135. And the answer will be coordinates in ordered pairs. negative 4.95, and positive 4.95. Got it? Here's the easy one that everybody gets right. How do I write this as a polar equation? I take out the x and replace it with r cosine theta.
Wait, when do you use the CI? No,
When
sorry.
it says polar form, this is not polar form, I'm simply writing a polar equation. And then plus 4r sine theta equals 2. That's it. What's the 5?
It's R.
R. What's the 97? Theta. What do I want to find? X and Y. Only this time I'll write it as X plus YI. How do I find X? 5 cosine 97.
Actually, just let's say that. Thank you.
So 5 cosine 97,
Just got it.
negative 0.61. 5 sine 97, 4.96. Here's your answer. Notice that on problem 2, I did exactly the same thing. Only in problem 2, it was coordinates. So my answer was an ordered pair. In problem 4, it's rectangular form, so my answer is x plus yi. Not x comma y, but x plus yi. The work is exactly the same for these two problems. Where would I plot the point negative 4 comma 10? That's a negative 4, so what does that tell me to do? Go to opposite angle. And what's the opposite angle for 10? What's the opposite angle for 10 degrees? 190. 190. If you want to travel to the opposite, don't you go 180 degrees in a 180 degree turn? Think about it. Right? If you start walking down the hall and realize you're going the wrong way, don't you turn around and go this way? How many degrees is that?
180.
180. So 10 degrees plus 180 will give you the 190. So the answer to the question is 4 comma 190. 4 comma 190. Positive 4, 190 degrees. Uh-oh. Vocabulary, what's a lemniscate? No, that would be a limason would be on the V. What's a lemniscate? Figure 8. A lemniscate is a figure 8. So you can draw it slanted if you want. You can draw it sideways if you want. That would be your lemniscate. Okay, one more and we'll stop. We'll do the other side tomorrow. Convert to polar form. Now, Abby Brady, polar form, RCIS theta. How do I find my R and my theta? Draw it, exactly. And this would be over 2 down 5. What's R? Root 29. How shall I find this angle right here? Second tangent, 5/2. This time, don't worry about the negatives, they cancel out. I never worry about them anyway, but I know some of you do. Second tangent, 5/2 gives me 68.2. That is not what goes here, though. The angle you want is this plus this. So how will I get the angle I want? Add that to 180. So it's 248.2. Kids, look, watch my hand. From here to here is how far? 180 plus another 68, right? That's how we get that number. That's the answer to the question. Now, technically, you don't have any homework because we did pre-quest 1 together. But if you are so motivated,